welcome. What's it like for you to know you're both going to be involved in watching the NBL for the first time live and get a really good experience from it?
Well, for me, it's a great time for me to actually be over in this part of the world and actually understand exactly what's happening and have boots on the ground and to see it with my own eyes as opposed to having meetings and calling and talking and conversations. I think we have an opportunity to really observe and learn and as we trying to build what we're trying to build over here. But I'm excited. It's my first time here in Australia. I'm excited about this. First time here in Perth. I'm enjoying it. So I'm excited just to see what's here for my own self.
As the next ambassador, you've got the future ownership coming along for a team as well. Do you have a timeline? And when you're here, will you be trying to work out which one you might want to get involved with?
I don't think I can go that as far as the details in that, but I just say we're excited about the opportunities and the environments that we're actually trying to create and the culture that we trying to create and just expanding on wherever we end up at. I can't tell you where.
You'd be wanted everywhere though, around the world. So why the NBL? Why Australia?
I think it's the first for one, the development aspect of it, right? And then the fact that there's no other place, no other game in the rest of the world that is as close as the NBA as it is to the NBL. And I'm talking about style of play, pace, the development aspect of it, understanding the game, having a chance to play with older guys or bigger, stronger guys. That's very hard to do, and not everybody can do that.
Is that the reason you got involved as well?
Well, yeah, a little bit differently. My role is being North American director, operational director in a sense, making sure that the talent from North America that everyone has their eye on. One is the correct talent. Two is also who might be missing in the gaps for the Next Star program. I'm already part of that, so hopefully Melo wants to come with us. But I'm already part of that group. But I think the one thing for me is just like it's easier to assess when you look in. You're actually here, and you're actually able to see the size, the strength, the speed of the game, and then you can really say, well, this player can easily move in or could not. And then also from my role is also to make sure like there's certain kids that would never come here, and instead of wasting time, and there's certain kids that would love to come here. I know who that is. I think Melo does too, is because he's so involved as well as in youth basketball back in the States. He has teams that plays on the EYBL circuit, which is Nike. So do I. So we see them, we talk to them on a daily basis since they were 5th, 6th grade. I want to take credit for being the first to tell him that his son would be a really good player when he was in 5th grade. We played our team, and he was upset. He's like, Kenny, my son. I'm like, no, Melo, he's good. I'm telling you, he's ready. He's gonna get there. All he has to do is get stronger. And so, for me, we're in the culture of basketball. I don't think there's, with the exception of maybe, there's only two other guys that I would say that has the closeness to youth basketball that he has, and I have, and maybe Chris Paul would be the third that you would really add. LeBron in some descent, but talking about physically being there all the time, even when your kids aren't playing, that's us.
You saw Rocco firsthand.
Yeah.
You saw Rocco firsthand.
Yeah, Rocco, yeah.
So what do you make of him?
Yeah, I think for him it's going to be repetition, reps. How many times is he on the floor in the position to understand when a double team comes, when not, when to go help, when not. And that's because he's 17, 18 years old, he's just learning the game. But his size and his stature and his skill are really high. But now it's reps because, basketball is like, there's a lot of David Copperfields, a lot of illusionists. They can show you this and then it's over here, and he's going to learn what that means.
Carmelo,
You like that?
That's inside talk. That's inside talk.
Will you be working closely with some of the Next Star guys over the next few days, or at least trying to meet them?
Yes, I think I'll be meeting the guys over the next couple of days. As far as working with them, I don't think on this trip. I think on this trip it's just more about meeting the guys and being around them and meeting the team and meeting the players and meeting the staff and just kind of enjoying this trip as well, but also really getting a true comprehension of what's happening over here, especially from a talent standpoint. So I'm excited just to kind of meet those guys, because I know this is different. This is something totally different, being on this side, and I'm just excited to see and start working with them and be a part of actually their development and their path to get to, ultimately the NBA.
What's the perception of the NBL over in America? Is it grown over the past few years?
Oh, it's respected. It's definitely respected. The conversations is happening more and more, and the topic of NBL is happening more and more. So when you start getting that fraternity, everybody talking and directed into one lane and one conversation, that's when you know you have something. Because we, as a fraternity, just don't agree and don't night a situation, right off the bat. We have to believe in it. We have to understand what's happening. We have to trust in what's happening, and we have to see and agree with the actual vision in order for us to agree to that.
Carmelo, what do you make of the HoopsFest concept and having everyone playing in the one place at one time? Is it a good way to showcase leagues, and should other leagues around the world be doing things like this, do you think?
Well, the showcase and the HoopsFest is one hell of an idea. I think in the NBA we kind of used to having those type of events and those type of environments, but to see another part of the world kind of implementing, that culture into what they have going on over here, I think it's going to be very exciting for me to see like how that's implemented over there.
We've got the Wildcats here. There's a little bit of talk about potentially us getting a second team. You've obviously played in New York in a two-team city. Do you like that it creates that kind of rivalry amongst people, and would you be an advocate for two-team towns?
I'm not mad at it, but I don't know the landscape yet, right? So it'll be hard for me to say yes. If that's an opportunity, I think that's a great opportunity in regards to the overall growth of the league. But as far as the nuances of should there be two teams here or two teams there, I don't have that wherewithal yet.
Crowd will be up and about tomorrow night. You were up and about at the Olympics. Like,
Yeah.
Will you be hyping them up? Will you
I don't know, man. I don't know. It depends. It depends how competitive the game gets. I will say a couple of people have shown me videos of, of what's happening over here, and just the excitement in the crowd and the fans, and I really got a deeper understanding of why this environment and why this league is arguably the second best league in the world.
And from the next up perspective, having Alex go to number 2 from here last year, like what's that done for the perception of, and your conversations with people to say come over or don't come over, or from a pathway perspective?
Well, it really started with LaMelo. He's the one from a United States standpoint who brought the attention that this was even possible. And so, from there, then you have Giddey and, all the other guys that have come through the league, and then Sarr last year. It's almost, I would say that this league isn't for everyone, but it is for great players in certain things. And I said this last night. When I got sold on being here, it was actually I watched the Serena movie. And I was watching the Serena movie when they had asked me to be part of it. And a week later, not together, I just watched the movie. And I said, Serena Williams would never have gone to college. She would have been too good to play tennis in college. So there are certain players that need to be pros tomorrow. And that's what this league is for. It's for those kind of players. Now, if you think you're Serena, you think you're Venus, come on over. But if you think you need to develop in a slower pace, that might not be your option. But that sold me actually watching that movie.
Can I ask you also on the flip side of what Craig was asking about? Obviously, the state 18s are also playing while HoopsFest is on. Do you have a look at the young Australian possible talent coming from over here?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I've seen the younger players as well. I think collectively, there's a difference between there is a gap between youth basketball here and youth basketball in America, but there's not as large a gap in the pro. I think usually when you turn about 18, your physicality, your understanding, and the amount of time you play starts to catch up. Where I think because the game is the primary game pretty much in the States. They play younger, so I think early on they're a little bit more advanced, but then about 18, the world catches us a little bit, and a lot of it. And so I think that's where it changes, because the physicality and the amount of repetition that they've had in playing in games and playing in practices and playing together catches up fast.
You guys see much of Perth while you're here, or will you be indoors at basketball events most of the time?
Say that again?
Will you see much of Perth while you're here, or will you be indoors at basketball?
I'm trying to go to the beach.
I'm
I'm trying to go to the beach. And what's the tea place? That tea place on the beach?
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
I'm trying to get there tomorrow. So, anybody got any
Suggestions?
suggestions? I'm open.
And you're going to the fan zone tomorrow?
Yes, I
Yes.
probably will be there as well. Yeah, we'll be there as well. We got a lot busy plate.
Yes, looking forward to seeing
Yeah.
Perth people.
But the most thing is the game. I want to see the game.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing the talent. Like I'm gonna go around and do what I do as far as visiting and being a tourist. But I'm really interested to see like the talent and the skill and the players. Again, and really try to get a real understanding of who's ready, right? The way that I would judge somebody that's ready for the NBA is totally different than the way that somebody else would grade somebody. So for me to be able to see that and see the physical nature of those players, even as 18, 17, 18, 19-year-old basketball players. So it's like Kenny said, it's a big difference at that age, especially in the States where 17, 18, it's the physicality level is totally different in the States than it is here. So if they saying that guys like Rocco and those guys are actually ready for the NBA, then I'm excited to kind of see that and see that development of him over this next kind of couple years.
I think also, let's not be remiss that, yes, this is probably the only league that prepares guys to leave and go to the NBA. But the difficulty, I said this to the Brisbane team, I appreciate the difficulty it is to be a pro basketball player anywhere. Like, I appreciate those guys. To be one of, there's probably only, at this time, 1,000 people in the world that get paid to play basketball.
Yeah.
There's 300 in the NBA and probably 700 around the world. To get paid, that is a very difficult feat. There's millions and millions of people who want to get paid to play basketball. So the talent level, not just that goes to the NBA, but just being a paid NBA pro or a paid NBL pro, that's a difficult job to get. And those guys should be acknowledged for that too.
Carmelo, when you were just describing what you want to see out of the next few days while you're here at the games, is the aim of it to go back to America and tell teams or coaches or players from what you've seen, like in your role as ambassador?
Well, I'm constantly pushing the message and about the level of play, not just in the NBA in America, but around the rest of the world. So that's always my day-to-day message, right? And also to see, to kind of see where it's at and who is ready to come over here, right? So you have to identify those people, like Kenny said, of who is really intentional about going to the NBA or developing and committing to coming here and doing what they have to do and create this path to get to the next level or to the NBA. So, as far as that standpoint, my message is always the same. I'm always preaching, the game of basketball in a globalized way.
Speaking of the games, you've both been around high-performing talent and high-performing athletes for a long time. The Jack Jumpers are defending their title tonight after winning it last year. Do you have any advice, the challenges that come with staying at the top and, keeping consistent, and any advice for them?
Well, I'm coming in blind to that. But again, I'm excited to see that. If it is that, they're defending, what's theirs, the message is always the same. Do what you have to do and to the best of your ability, right? And be great at your role. Whatever your role is, be great at that, right? Play hard, that's standard. Everybody says play hard. Everybody says, every possession counts. But at the end of the day, you have to be great at the role that incurs for you.
Well, it's funny because when I was hearing about Team Tasmania, I thought that was a fictional place because I've heard only the Tasmanian Devil. I didn't realize. I was like, that's really a place. Okay.
Do you know what a jack jumper is?
So I would imagine that it has something to do with
Nope.
not a kangaroo.
Nope.
And
It's an ant. Okay, so there we go. My education continues daily. But I've been blessed to be on a championship team trying to go back to back. The one thing that you have to fight is human nature. Because when you achieve something, your human nature is to relax and take a breath. And as a team, you have to fight against human nature and complacency and saying that, well, we did it last year. Because you always have an excuse to say, we did it last year. And you have to fight against that. And once you're able to fight against that, they can have an opportunity to do it. I call it, I've seen players that played on our team who first time getting attention, and they come on the bus with shades on, and the year before they didn't, because they believe they're better than they are. So you have to fight against that complacency.
He wasn't talking about me.
I'm not telling you.
We're wrapping up with.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank